Is when socialism's not happening fast enough through the political system, you take it to the streets. To organize his campaign's socialist street soldiers, Bernie hired several architects of the Occupy Wall Street movement. They're now playing senior roles on his staff. Claire Sandberg is one of his national organizing directors, and Winnie Wong is a senior campaign advisor. Now, that's Winnie Wong along with Linda Sarsour in Claire Sanders' Facebook profile page. When Wong is not busy taking selfies with prominent anti-Semites, she gives speeches at Democratic Socialist of America conventions with titles like Revolution at the Crossroads, igniting the socialist resistance against Trump. After the failed Bernie campaign in 2016, Sandberg and Wong stayed very busy traveling around Europe to train leftist political groups like Podemos in Spain, the UK's Labour Party, and the Left, a Democratic Socialist Party in Germany that, get this, used to be the ruling Communist Party under a different name in the former East Germany. In 2017, Sandberg and Wong also went to Norway to train the leaders of the Rødt Party. Translated, Rødt means red. And yes, it's another communist party. So just let that sink in for a moment. Bernie Sanders, his national organizing director in charge of the entire army of street organizers, and one of his senior campaign advisors are in high demand as trainers of communist parties in Europe. Really, it should be easy for Bernie's opponents in these debates, but it's not. Bernie's senior policy advisor is Heather Gottney. She is also an Occupy Wall Street veteran and a sociology professor at Fordham University. In 2011, she wrote an article for the Washington Post that basically is a how-to guide for organizing radical street movements like Occupy Wall Street. It's incredibly detailed with a ton of insider knowledge from that movement that was supposedly leaderless and just a spontaneous outcry from the people. Gottney is apparently regarded as one of the Occupy Wall Street leaders. And she's regarded by that, even by the people at the University of Tehran, which invited her to speak in Iran in 2013 at a conference called An American Awakening, where when she returned to the U.S., she confirmed that, quote, "I felt my role there was to maintain my position as representing the movement," end quote. Gottney is apparently partial to authoritarian governments because during the Hugo Chavez reign in 2006, she traveled to Venezuela for the World Social Forum. Afterward, she wrote that, quote, "Today's neoliberal capitalist system has become utterly incompatible with the requisites of democratic freedom as it stands. The U.S. representative political and economic institutions are not structured as representative bodies of any sort in any real sort of way." America, please hear me. You vote for just about anybody. I don't care who you vote for. But you have to understand, this is Bernie Sanders' senior policy advisor. She's only one of them. Just wait. They are not playing around. Let me show you the national field director. Now, this is Becca Rast. And also, let's throw in field director Nick Martin. They work under Claire Sandberg. And like the others I've mentioned so far, Rast and Martin were also veterans of Occupy Wall Street. They were in high school. They were high school pals. And they formed a chapter of the new Students for a Democratic Society. That's SDS. Remember? They started it in 2006 as a resurrection of the original SDS, the Marxist group from the 1960s that produced Bill Ayers, the riots in '68, and the Weather Underground. The Bernie campaign also attracts members of Antifa. It's only natural, since Antifa was also an integral part of Occupy Wall Street. Antifa is made up of self-admitted socialists, anarchists, and communists. They don't care about the Democratic Party's progressive agenda. They're done with it. They're following an entirely different playbook. And that makes for a perfect fit, really, with the Bernie campaign. Again, do not take my word for it. Why?
There's some here. A lot of them are probably on the Bernie campaign. But there are some there's a DSA chapter here, so like some of the DSA folks are probably engaged. We've been looking for an action to like participate in, like in regards to like, oh, look at that action.
That's it.
But like in regards to like immigration and ICE, we've been looking for something to pop off where we can pop right back off.
Well, I think you don't want to scare people off, so you kind of gotta feel it out first before you get into the crazy stuff. But
what kind of crazy stuff? Tell me.
we were talking about more extreme organizations and stuff like Antifa. You're talking about the yellow vests and all that, but we're kind of keeping that on the back burner for right now.
For now. They don't want to scare people about having Antifa on board the Bernie campaign, so they're keeping it on the back burner for right now. How the media accuses conservatives of fear-mongering or exaggerating plots that aren't there. Yet here are Bernie campaign staffers spilling the beans. The agenda is real. They are passionate about it. The key to understand what's happening here is that Bernie's team is working on far more than just winning the presidential election. They've been talking about a wider movement or the revolution. They even spell it out in one of their campaign commercial taglines. Watch.
Senator Bernard Sanders will be the next president of the United States of America. Thank you.
Watch. Make no mistake, they mean it. This revolution is about ending capitalism. This is the exact communist revolution that Lenin in 1919 and later Stalin were begging America